$24,711-ish dollars. $1 can only get you 802 sats, sadly. Creeping up on 2.5 trillion market cap. Still got a supply of 21 million when everything is all said and done. Currently got 19.9 million out there circulating around. A few of them are lost. You know, people lost their keys, lost their coins. Fees are looking good, pretty low. Average block time is still 10 minutes. Hash rate still over 1,000 exahash. Looking good. The system security is looking great, looking strong. 23,000 reachable nodes. Let's go take a look at the Z-score. Still climbing on up to 2.49, up a little bit from yesterday, especially as we made new all-time highs. If we take a look at our floor, slowly creeping up, 53,456. Come take a look at some technicals on the weekly chart. The RSI is getting hot at 65. We had our MACD cross. Go back previous times and look and see what happened when the MACD crossed to the upside. If we take a look at the daily chart, RSI is getting extremely hot. So we might see a pullback down to this 20 and bounce off of this before we continue running again. But as we can see at the weekly, we still got some room to go. The last time we were up in the overbought area, which was back in December of 24, November, December time of 24, we got extremely overbought, cooled off a little bit, had a little pullback, touched off of the 50 and the 20, and then from this point forward, we've created new all-time highs multiple times. And then if we take a look at BITI, which is the inverse of Bitcoin, right? When Bitcoin runs up, this goes down. When Bitcoin comes down, this runs up. This also has some room to still go down on the weekly chart before we get into the extremely oversold territory. So Bitcoin has a little bit more room to run to the upside on the weekly chart until we get to those extremely overbought areas, and BITI has some room to go down. Now let's take a look at something else. Let's see if I can get this off of here. This is gold. I don't know why this is on here, but anyways, gold is reaching all-time highs as well. If you compare Bitcoin to gold charts, Bitcoin follows gold pretty closely. So when gold tends to run, Bitcoin tends to follow. It's a lag behind it a little bit. So as gold continues to reach all-time highs, we see Bitcoin slowly doing the same thing. Now, if we go look on a Bitcoin versus gold chart, we can see back here when we had this run up, we had got up into a little over 1,000 when Bitcoin price in grams, we got over 1,000 a little bit. So we're not there yet. So we still have room to run as far as when we reached all-time highs during this time where Bitcoin was at in terms of gold. So since gold is still running up and Bitcoin is still running up, we still got some room to go, because right now we're at like 31 ounces if you're pricing Bitcoin in ounces of gold, or 884 if you're pricing it in grams. So we still got some room to catch up to these all-time highs if we do this comparison chart. And then another chart that I like to look at, let's see if I can just refresh this and get this up off of here. So this is considered the whales, because what this is long. So this is big institutions using leverage to go long on Bitcoin. So this indicator isn't necessarily correct all the time. So, You know, it's not, if you go back and compare this chart to Bitcoin price, if there's a time when this is low or if there's a time that is high, it doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin is necessarily going to run or that Bitcoin is necessarily going to dip. But there are some good correlations. And then as you can see, we had a big run up a couple of weeks ago in longs, and then we see what price has been doing. And then also, if you go back and look at Bitcoin price around this time as well, that's when we were running up. So it's good to just see what the whales are doing. You know, if you ever want to see what whales are doing, if they're, you know, going long, you know, using leverage going long on Bitcoin, you can check this out. The ticker is just BTC USD longs, if you're ever curious to see. If we take a look at the chart and the buys, so like I said, we were only able to get 792 sats today. What a sad day. The amount of sats able to accumulate is going down. You know, that's what happens when Bitcoin price runs up. We're only able to get fewer and fewer sats, those little satoshis, little chunks of Bitcoin. Able to buy in at 124,740, so almost the high. We cracked, I think, let's see, what was the high? As of this recording, 125,559 has been the high so far today. If we take a look at the overall account, up about 7%. In USD terms, the value is $28. And then I always mess up on Mondays. I keep forgetting I have to do $3 buys. So I did 2 separate individual buys, but here's this account down about 7%. So, you know, you see a very close similarities, you know, Bitcoin up 7%, BITI down 7%. So just a little bit more, and got that dividend coming tomorrow. That'll boost up the overall value once that's in there for BITI. But anyways, Bitcoin price, this was the highest buy price so far during this challenge, day 27. Highest Z-score so far, and the highest weekly RSI. We can see the 200-week moving average, the floor is just slowly creeping up. And then in 27 days, there's been a big fluctuation of daily buys, you know, anywhere between 109,000 on the low end and 124,000 on the high end. And then take a look at BITI. This is where we're sitting at. So another day, another dollar accumulated. I'll catch you again tomorrow.